Let's go ahead and add another class. I'm going to call this cat. It's going to be cat class, and it will extend animal as well. We're going to override a behavior which was public void make sound. Just going to override the first one. Say system.out, and it's going to say purr. Okay, because that's what cats do, of course. And the next class we're going to create is going to be called a vet. The vet class, all it's going to have is a public void. I'm going to call this give shot. Now, notice what we're going to do here. For our parameters or arguments we can actually pass an animal object. I'm going to say animal, call this animal as such. Okay, and what I'm going to do here, I'm going to just go ahead and say animal dot make sound. That's the function that we're going to be calling when we pass in an animal and we call the give shot from our vet. Everything is still the same. Let's go back to our main here. We're going to do a few things. Let me go and comment this out. Let's move this to the bottom here as well. So I'm going to go ahead here and instantiate the vet. I'm going to say vet. I'm going to call my vet is equal to new vet as such. So we have our my vet reference object here created. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to instantiate the cat and dog. So I'm going to say cat, my cat is equal to new cat and such. I'm going to say dog. In fact, let me just put it here since we have it already. So we have my cat and my dog objects ready to be used. So I'm going to say now my vet dot give shot, and notice the moment you do that, my vet has to receive an animal type. Well, that means we can pass any of these because they are indeed animal types, right? Because they all inherit from animal. Okay? So if I pass my cat as such, I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to pass my dog. Okay, so again, we instantiated my vet here, which is an object or a class that we created. My vet is the class that we created, and we have one behavior, which is give shot, which takes in an animal type object. Okay, so inside we're actually taking that object and we're going to invoke the make sound of that object. Okay, so now if we run this, you notice when we ran this, we have purr and woof. Now, what really happened here? If you go back to vet, notice we just said any type of animal you pass in, we are going to take it and we're going to invoke the make sound, right? So this is another polymorphism concept here that's really amazing when it comes to object-oriented programming, because all we did now, we can pass any type of object as long as this object is somehow related to animal class. So we could have 100, or anybody else can go ahead and write different classes that inherit from animal, and we can always pass here. And what happens is each time we are invoking each animal, each time we invoke the behaviors of each animal that we create, as you can see, we created my cat and we have my dog, and we pass those objects in the give shot. What happens is Java knows exactly which make sound it needs to call in order for this to work. And all we had to do really is just to pass a very generic animal type via our give shot, and it did the rest. Okay? This is what we call polymorphic arguments that we are passing. So this concept, again, it allows us to play with our object or our classes in a way that makes our code cleaner, makes our code more predictable, and at the same time makes our code very accepting, meaning that our code now is very malleable, very dynamic, very easy to change or to manipulate to different forms that we want to confirm to. That's a very, very, very important object-oriented programming concept here of polymorphism, that we are able to create different forms of our methods, overloading our methods. Okay, we're able to override our methods, meaning that we can now make sure that the children or subclasses can invoke their own behaviors as opposed to invoking their parents' behaviors. Okay, making our children unique entities, which is exactly what we want when we're talking about object-oriented programming. And now we are also able, we can see these polymorphic arguments that we can pass, and the system is able to go and figure out which methods are supposed to be called depending on which objects we're passing here. Because remember, we are passing an object or a variable type, animal. Please play around with this concept and try to really wrap your head around it. But just remember, it's not a very difficult concept. It's just a matter to understand that polymorphism in Java allows us to have many forms or many behaviors using our objects. All right. Well, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.